Hey there! In today's episode, we are going to be chatting about the mistakes that do-it-yourself entrepreneurs make when creating their own website. I've been through this a couple of different times and in a lot of variations, but I just keep seeing it come up over and over again and again. It just makes me really sad. So I'm going to go over 5. I'm going to try to keep it to 5. I know there's a lot more. And just kind of look at your site and think about these items and make sure that you are not making these common mistakes. My name is Yasmin Robles. I am the owner of Robles Designs, where we create drool-worthy websites and brands for entrepreneurs who are hell-bent on taking over the world. We don't do this just by creating pretty sites, although they're pretty cool. We do this also by adding some stats and actually really training people to be able to create, use their site, to be able to update their site, to be able to actually be able to know what is going on their site. We train people after we have built their sites for them. So that's what I do. That's what we do as a team at Robles Designs. But to get down to why you're here. So the number one thing that I keep seeing people do is not adding analytics to their site. So I have come across clients that are ready for that heavy duty build out, right? They are in the next phase. They're probably 3 years in. They know what they're doing now, or at least a little bit more, because I don't know, as an entrepreneur, do you really ever know what you're doing? But they're 3 years in, they've got more of a budget to invest in their site. They know what's worked, what hasn't worked, or at least they think they do. And we're diving in and I say, hey, show me the analytics of your website. And they kind of just go quiet. And then they're like, actually, we don't have analytics. We don't know any data. We don't have any numbers because it was never hooked up. And it's, oh my God, it kind of stresses me out, because as a designer who kind of relies on some of those numbers to make decisions, we don't just make decisions willy-nilly. I want to see, okay, if the main service page doesn't get any traction, but service offering A page does. What is the difference? What have you been doing in marketing? Is that going to continue? Are you discontinuing that offer? What kind of redirect can we do? All of these things that happen in the background come up because of the changes that you want to make on the site, or the site you want to create, and what has been going on, and we kind of want to mash everything together and build out a great plan. So you want to make sure that right from the get-go, you are, even if you're not going to be looking at Google Analytics very much, you want it to be synced so that you can then 2 years from now go back and say, you know what? Remember that awesome month that we had in December for holiday when we were selling out of everything? Where was all that traffic coming from? And then you can go back in and say, holy cow, it was coming from Instagram. And so what were we doing on Instagram to get that traction, and how can we replicate it? So with analytics, you can really do some great stuff. But a lot of do-it-yourselfers, they just don't sync it. They just don't, and it's free. It's Google Analytics, it's free. Another one would be Google Search Console that I would suggest hooking up. Number one mistake, not adding analytics to the site. The next mistake that people make when they are DIYing their website, so common. It's just not having any goals on that page, and you can easily see it. So if I were to go on your, let's say, you are a personal trainer and you have a page that is talking about all of your services, but on that page you're adding things like service A, service B, testimonial, but like FAQ for general FAQs for some product you sell, and there's like all these random things going on. There is no goal for that page. The next thing that I've seen is pages like the About page not have a goal either. Yes, I get it. You put your bio on there, people want to know about you, but where's the call to action? So if you have no goal, you don't know what the call to action should be. On the About page, the goal is to get people to basically contact you or buy from you or do something. Yes, you are doing it in a way subtly, you're kind of being like, hey, learn about how awesome I am. by doing all these awesome things for other people, but look at how awesome I am. And here's some testimonials about how awesome I am. So it's not just me saying I'm awesome. And if you are now interested in also finding out how awesome I am, click here to contact. So the goal of the about page is still to sell or to get them to the contact page or for something, right? So you want to make sure that there is a button, that there is something for them to click on. There is a next step. If a page has no goals, there is no next step. So make sure you have a goal for each page, and along with that, a CTA for each page. The next very awkward thing that do-it-yourself entrepreneurs do on their website is having really awkward, not awkward, just bad stock photography. So it's like those weird cheesy stock photos, like or just a weird people in, like, you searched for professional woman or like businesswoman and you got this like weird person in the white background. I don't know, it's really weird. Or like medical professional and you got this really weird stock image. These awkward stock images are very distracting. I suggest places like Pexels, Unsplash if you're looking for those free images, but I've had clients who paid for images and they're still awkward looking. So make sure that your images are not awkward looking. Get an opinion from someone, even if you have to pay for an hour from a designer or somebody to just look over your work and say, are these images like, are they awkward? Like, do they look legit? Like, does it actually look like a medical professional? Or does it look like it was photoshopped on? Like what? And with that, you just want to make sure that if you can't afford it, you might want to go the route of getting branded images. So maybe once a year, if you can, get a photographer to come out, take photos, or go to a co-working space somewhere to get the photos taken. So you gotta get your branded images in. But again, avoid the awkward stock photos. Okay, so the next thing I keep seeing is a cluttered navigation. I get that you do so many things that you want to put it all up on the navigation, but you can't do that. You just can't. You have to seriously consider what is the most important thing on navigation. If you're in e-commerce, or even if you're a service-based business, you can go the route of having a mega menu. So this is the type of menu that when you hover over something will drop down, and then you have like another section of options to choose from. But again, you don't want to make those too cluttered. So ideally, you'd want to have a very clean navigation. I would say one-word navigation elements, so home, about, contact. You don't want to take up valuable real estate by going, home, about us, contact us, get to know us, sign up today, those kinds of things. Because there's too many words, you're taking up way too much retail. You could just literally say about and contact, and people would still understand that they're contacting and they're going to the about page. So make sure to just kind of keep those simple. Try to reduce it down as much as possible to one word navigation items. And then you'll want to make sure that only the appropriate pages are up there. So like, for example, the FAQ page does not need to be on the top navigation unless you're very light on pages. You might want to put it up there. Those generally go in the footer along with privacy policy, all those legal pages. So you want to make sure that it's a clean navigation, that it is focused on your main goal for the site. So if that is selling a service, make sure that it has the services page on there, right? Again, just clutter-free navigation. In terms of number of items, it really depends, but it could be 5 items, could be the max, 5, 7 items. I don't think you should go past 7. I think some of those might be going towards the bottom navigation. You can link to it from a drop down or something. And then please do not have a miscellaneous navigation. That is like the most common way I know that it is a do-it-yourselfer website is when usually, I forget which platform it is, that if you have too many items on your navigation, it'll create a miscellaneous tab when the browser gets too skinny. And usually it'll just always be there because you have so many items that it doesn't even matter. No matter how wide you make the navigation, the browser window, it'll still be there, right? I forget which platform it is, but it'll add a miscellaneous or more tab. And this is basically the miscellaneous drawer in your kitchen that you never clean out and it's just cluttered. Because all of those could have just gone in the footer. Even with services, like if you have, let's say, 3 different services, you could just have one service page, and technically all of your other services could be popped out from the bottom navigation, things like that. So clutter-free navigation is ideal. I would say the craziest thing that a do-it-yourself entrepreneur will, the craziest mistake that they will do is really taking way too long on their website. And I've seen some ugly websites created by do-it-yourself entrepreneurs who try real hard, and sometimes they think that they're really nice websites, and I'm just like, oh, pat you on the back and tell you you tried so hard. But at least they got something up, which is more than I can say for some other people who take a year. It still looks like not that great, and they still have not launched anything. So these people had these clients who had DIY'd. They DIY'd their first site, and then they DIY'd their second iteration of the site. And as a designer, I'm just like, I don't see how this is just, good job, A for effort. And but guess what? They're making great money, and they're getting people to contact them from their site. And even though it is not that aesthetically pleasing, they are generating money. So, and that's basically what you want with a business. You don't want a hobby, you want to generate money. So then there's the other clients who are just so nitpicky about the site, and nobody else is going to be nitpicking your site unless they're a designer. Nobody else is going to be nitpicking your site as much as you will. Nobody else will notice certain things as much as you will. Now, granted, if you are catering to grammar people and your grammar on your site is not that great, you might want to change that. But if you are like a masseuse and you're catering to, maybe you might be catering to some high-end people, but if it's not like literary people, they might not notice that your grammar is off. They might not even care, honestly. So they're not there for the grammar. They're there for your amazing massages, right? So these do-it-yourselfers, they spend so much time just like nitpicking the entire site, and 1 year passes and they don't have it up, and they don't have a way for people to cyberstalk their business. They don't have any home base. They keep using Facebook and they can't grow their business. So you want to make sure that you're not just dragging along, because ideally you want to make sure that you're getting a site up and running, even if it's a quick, like for me, even if you pay me a VIP booking session, we get something up real quick. It's not the site that you ultimately want maybe, but it is like 90% there. It's on brand, it's looking amazing, and maybe iteration 2, that's when you'll add all the fancy customizations to it. Or you could spend a whole year trying to get your site up and still not be happy with it. This is really going back to not having a guide, not having someone tell you what to do, not having a roadmap really of what you could do to just get this site up and going. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to check out the free 3-day website challenge. If you have already done the challenge, well, congratulations. Hopefully you followed the challenge and you got to a really great point where you can just launch the site. And then again, come back, iterate later. Nobody will be as critical of your site as you will, unless you are a designer. And unless you bring it up to my attention and you say, hey, what do you think of my site? Then I'm going to be like, switching my designer hat. I don't wear hats that often, but so it'd be like switching my designer lipstick on, and I will look at your site more critically. But really, if I just need your services, I'm just gonna hire you. I don't, you got a website up at least, right? As long as it's easy to read on mobile, it's got all the information I need, it's got your contact information, your hours of business, I'm gonna be good. So same thing with your potential clients. Just to recap real quick, make sure to have a call to action and a goal for each page. Make sure to have analytics on each page. Google Analytics and Search Console. Make sure to have an uncluttered navigation. Make sure to avoid bad stock images, and then just sprint to the finish versus trying to drag out this marathon of a website build that really, unless it's a super custom site, it should not take you that long. Like if you're a startup and especially if you're a service-based business startup, it should not take you that long to launch a website. So don't drag it out to 6 months, to 6 months. It should really be this sprint, and then you can iterate later. Those are, you can call me up and I will tell you so many other things that do-it-yourself entrepreneurs, so many other mistakes that they make, but these are the top ones that that are just on my mind this month because I keep seeing them over and over again. We can go into optimization later and I'll tell you more and more horror stories. But that's it for today. So make sure to check out some other videos that I will be posting in the links and stuff, related videos. And thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye-bye.